Hey there guys, you're watching Dirt Bike Channel. I'm your host Kyle Brotherson, and today we're going to be doing a review of these SIDI Crossfire 3 SRS boots. Stick around. So I want to do a review of these awesome boots that I got from Rocky Mountain ATV. I buy all my parts from Rocky Mountain ATV, most of them, and you can do that too. If you go to my down in the video description, I have a link that takes you to Rocky Mountain ATV or Motorsport or Amazon. Please, please, please buy from those links because that helps me to support my family. This is not a paid review. I'm not being paid by SIDI or anything to talk about these things, but I've been wearing these things for a while and I wanted to give you my thoughts. As you can see, I've got another camera angle. You can see that these boots are dirty and they're worn. I haven't worn these as much as some of the other pairs of boots that I have, but I've definitely worn them for many rides, and I've got enough of an idea of what they are to give you a long-term review on these boots. So first off, they're expensive. I paid, I think, $5.95 for these boots, so they're very expensive. But one thing I've learned in this industry and in a lot of areas of my life is you get what you pay for. If you buy a $100 pair of boots or a $200 pair of boots, they don't offer as much protection and as much support. These SIDI boots give me as much protection, and I feel as confident in these boots as any boot that I've ever put on my foot. They run a little bit small from what I've been told, so I normally wear a 10.5 size shoe in men's here in the US, so I bought an 11, and these fit me really well. They're pretty stiff boots. When you get them, and even now, they're very stiff, which I like. If you don't want a stiff boot, this is not the boot for you. I would suggest that you go out and look for something else because these are going to be very stiff. But they also are very comfortable. Now, why do they call it the SRS? Well, it's because of a sole replacement system. I'll drop one down here for this camera, and you guys can look up on this camera here, depending on which one I do. You can replace this sole replacement system. So this part of the middle part of the sole is replaceable. You can take that, you can replace that with just a flat blade screwdriver here and get this part. So this is a part that wears out a lot of times because of what people do with their foot. You know, our foot pegs are sharp, and so you can wear that out. So that's nice that you can replace that. You can also replace a lot of the buckles and different things, as which is typical of a boot of this caliber, because I think this is the top of the line from SIDI. So it's a very stiff boot. When I first got it, I was a little bit frustrated because it seemed like it was hard to buckle. There's a lot of stuff going on. I buckled one of these up, but I'll bring this. Let's look at this one right here. This one is not buckled, obviously. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and so it takes you a little bit longer to buckle this boot because you've got a lot of things going on. And at first I was like, this is annoying because it takes me so long, because when you're buckling it, you know, you've got this piece right here that kind of goes over the top, but then you also have to have this one that kind of comes over and velcros. So as you're putting this on, you're making sure that you get all this stuff kind of situated perfectly, and then you get this plastic piece over the top of that one, and then you you buckle that one on, you buckle this one. And so at first I was like, oh man, this boot takes longer to buckle, and I don't like it because it seemed like I just had so much going on, more so than some of the other boots. I thought it was a little bit more complicated. Well, guess what that does? With this boot, when I've got that on, I get far less brush and dirt and weeds and everything down in my boot, because this just seals up. It just seals up so much better than the Garnet boots that I have and the Fox boots that I have. So after a while, I was like, you know what? This gives me a better seal to keep out all that other dirt and debris, and my socks don't come out muddy and dirty and have all kinds of stuff down in there. So over time I was like, yes, you do have to spend a little bit extra time, and it's a little bit more tedious when you're putting this boot on because you've kind of got all these things that you're dealing with. You've got some pieces are going under, some pieces are going over. So that was a little bit frustrating in the beginning, until I found out how much less debris I was having down in my boots. Because with a lot of my other boots and a lot of my riding experiences, I'm getting brush and leaves and all kinds of things going down into the top of my boot. With these ones, I don't get that. So that's pretty cool. I really came around on that one. As far as weight, they're not super heavy. In fact, I should get my scale over here. I'm gonna do that. I will roll that footage in just so that I can keep going here, but I'll roll the footage in to show you how heavy they are. As you can see, they come in at about 4.86 ounces, which is the lightest of the 3 boots that I own. They don't feel like they're super heavy. I think I might have done a video where I weighed them before. But anyway, one thing I will say though is they are kind of slick. The toe up here is kind of a really hard plastic, this toe right here. And so it's easy to kind of slip. The middle part here is rubber, but the outside part is a hard plastic rubber, I don't know, and it's just kind of easy to slip. And same thing, it's a really hard rubber down here on the sole. And I find that, especially if I'm on like my floor here in the shop where it's a sealed concrete floor, I find that I can really, it's really slick. So you have to be careful that you don't fall down. There's a bunch of things here that are replaceable. Like you can replace these plates, this plate. You can see you've got your, good support here with this hinge. You can kind of see how that hinge works right there. And so it'll stop you from hyperextending or hyperflexing or whatever. And so it definitely has some really good support. And I love having a boot that I'm confident in, that I know it's going to give me the support. So I err kind of on the stiff side. I like a stiff boot, and this boot definitely is on the stiffer side, and it makes me comfortable when I'm riding. And that's the main thing is you want to be, get this there. You want to be comfortable when you're riding. And the other thing that was great about these boots is immediately after putting them on, I kind of forgot that they were there. So, they were kind of stiff and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to break these things in. And I wore them around the house, and these boots are not the most comfortable for the first hour or so, but I wore them around the house and kind of started working the leather and stuff. And then as soon as I got on the bikes, I just felt good. It doesn't have too wide of a toe. The toe box is about perfect. And so I felt like I could feel my controls. I could feel everything perfectly. And I just kind of forgot that they were different boots. So I like these better than my Fox Instinct boots, just saying that straight up. I think I like them better than my Garnet boots. The Garnets have lasted forever, so it remains to be seen if these boots will last as long as the Garnets, but it's very easy to replace the sole. One thing that I like, I'll bring this right up here so you can see, is you can see if you look at these screws, I have not hardly dinged up these screws at all. I'll drop this one down so I can see on the other camera just in case that's the angle I want. But this screw up here on the toe, this has got all kinds of marks on it because that's where my foot pegs are going, because I'm putting my foot peg right here on the ball of my foot, which is exactly where you want to have a foot peg, right? For the type of riding that I do, I like to be more up on the balls of my feet rather than on the arches of my feet, and that shows that this is where I'm putting my foot peg, which is what I try to focus on. So anyway, the SIDI Crossfire 3 SRS boots, they are good. I totally recommend them. Again, in the beginning, I wasn't quite sure how much I was going to like them because it was kind of a little bit more tedious to get them buckled. But after I saw how well they worked, how comfortable they were after time, and how they kept stuff out of the top of my boots, the support that they give me, the confidence they give me. It's a really hard toe box up here, so you're not going to blow your foot up by hitting into rocks or roots. And let me just say this. I don't think that there's any more important gear that you can wear other than your boots and your helmet. And I'm not really sure which is more important. I have needed my boots to save my feet more than I've needed my helmet to save my head. I'm not advocating to say helmets are not important. What I'm trying to say here is that boots are basically every bit as important as your helmet. Don't scrimp on your boots. Get a good pair of boots. These are very good. The Garnets are very good. The Foxes that I've used are very good too. They're just not, I don't think they're as supportive. The Foxes are easy to walk in, you know what I mean? But these SIDIs, I think, give the maximum amount of support of any of the boots that I have owned, and they are comfortable once they get worn in, broken in. As long as you're okay with having a stiff boot, give a good hard look at these things. I know they're expensive, but sometimes you might find them on sale or you might get a coupon. Please, please, please though, if you are gonna buy them as a result of this review, use the links down below in the description. You can also go to dirtbikechannel.com/parts. I have all the links over there. I have Amazon links and those types of things. It really, really helps me when you guys do that. So I appreciate your support. If you also want to support even additionally, you can go to patreon.com/dirtbikechannel and you can subscribe to like a monthly tip amount there. I would be forever in your debt if you wanted to do that. We also do dirt bike sweepstakes every once in a while. And maybe we're going to be doing them a couple times a year where you can buy some gear and you can be entered in to win a dirt bike. So stay tuned for those things. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can kind of get up to date and see what we're doing a little bit sooner there. And that's about it, guys. So appreciate everything, appreciate all your support, and until next time, we'll see you in the next video.